A quarter of an hour into the programme, welcome back. The preliminary results of the much-anticipated criminal investigation into the downing of flight MH17 over Ukraine were made public on Wednesday. The tragedy took the lives of 298 people. Most were from the Netherlands.
Издалека казалось, что это какие-то просто тряпочки, ошметочки. Оказалось, это тела людей. Просто они как-то так падали.
Hell, really hell. It's very hard when you lose a child. They told us that the plane, the part of the plane that they were sitting in, has been flying for 6 kilometers before it crashed. So I'm not sure if they were aware of what was going on. That's a nightmare as well. It's a movie in my head that I can't get out of it. Of course, we'd like to hear who did it and why. I just need to know. I have to know.
The Dutch-led probe claimed that the missile which hit the passenger jet in July 2014 was launched from a rebel-held area in eastern Ukraine. A surface-to-air Buk missile was used. The joint investigation team also says the launcher was transported to Ukraine from Russia and then returned there after the attack. With more, here's Paula Sleer.
So now we've seen the report, but there are still questions. Those who wanted to hear once again that Russia is to blame have walked away reassured, while those who want to see some hard evidence are walking away puzzled. So what exactly was said?
Or not said? Russia says they spotted a few problems in the joint investigative report. Investigators failed to identify the type of rocket. The rocket fired was different to the one they claimed it was. The type of damage was misidentified, and the place of launch was incorrect. But in a slick multimedia presentation, the Dutch-led international joint investigation became arguably the first of its kind to be based on pictures found on the internet. Not all pictures, mind you. American satellite images were not used, nor were social media photographs originating in Russia.
The main evidence they present here is the tapes from all those conversations or made-up conversations. I have no idea. And I asked them what's the source of the tapes, and they say Ukrainian Secret Service. And then I asked are there other sources, and they say no. And from there on, they based their case. And I don't believe that you could take it seriously, at least not in court.
Ukraine has a vested interest, which is why it seems strange to regard it as a reliable source. What's more, Ukrainian submissions are considered evidence, while those from Russia have been dismissed as excessive. And then there's the even stranger claim that Ukraine's radar data was under maintenance and offline at the time of the crash.
It's a fundamental principle of any kind of criminal investigation that it is done independently of the people who may be said to have been involved. And we have had here right from the outset the involvement of the Ukrainian police, the Ukrainian security services, when Ukraine clearly is one of the prime suspects for being responsible for the shooting down of the plane.
The Dutch investigators also spoke about witnesses, but no one was named and no testimony was made public. One was simply left having to believe it. In terms of hard evidence, the JIT is thin, mostly computer reconstruction and some videos from the internet. Much the same as Bellingcat, the British online investigative group that is already facing questions regarding its authenticity. And lastly, the investigators remain unsure about the missile type. They talked about 9M38 series, meaning they're not sure if it was 9M38 or 9M38M1. Important because the damage created does not match the missile type.
The results of the initial criminal investigation have now been made public, and so begins the journey of digesting and breaking them apart. Allegations, counter-allegations, and the quest for answers is far from over. Paul Islier, RT, Nieuwegein, the Netherlands.
The Bellingcat report mentioned by Paula claimed months ago that the missile launcher came from Russia. That's despite the fact that the man behind the investigation admits to having no qualifications to conduct one.
Elliot Higgins, who runs the website Bellingcat, is a laid-off admin worker who made a name for himself by analysing weapons used in the Syrian conflict.
Never been to Syria, doesn't speak a word of Arabic, and he conducts his profound research from the comfort of his armchair in his home.
Higgins himself admits he has no experience in the field.
Before the Arab Spring, I knew no more about weapons than the average Xbox owner. I had no knowledge beyond what I'd learned from Arnold Schwarzenegger and Rambo.
His tools of choice for uncovering global conspiracies: YouTube and Google Earth.
Billboards in the area kind of looked the same, but it wasn't really, you know, this isn't enough to say this is definitely the same area. You could see the path and the grass, but again, it's not a great match. So we know the Russians lied.
And the media loves him.
Elliot Higgins, a
British blogger who's
been analysing the pictures of the wreckage.
Thank you for joining the program.
But some are questioning his methods, like the developer of the photo analysis program which Bellingcat used to claim Moscow faked satellite images. And image forensics experts aren't fans either.
What Bellingcat is doing is nothing more than reading tea leaves. Error-level analysis is a method used by hobbyists.
But fellow obsessives are ecstatic about scrutinising Bellingcat's analysis. Bloggers claim he's showing photos of two different Buk missile systems in an attempt to prove the weapon came from Russia. They say the one pictured in Russia is a newer model because it features a recent modification. As for the claim that no Ukrainian Buks were in the area at the time of the crash, well, fellow bloggers dug up screenshots from Ukrainian TV, apparently showing a Buk missile system, complete with radar, in the area just a few days before the tragedy.
Ukrainian officials had previously also claimed that a Russian Buk missile launcher was in the area at the time. They backed up the allegation with social media photos, but didn't release any radar data to confirm it. Kiev claims that its civilian primary radars were under maintenance at the time, adding that its military radars were switched off because no Ukrainian military jets were flying in the area. Now, the next step in the Dutch-led investigation will be to work to identify all of those responsible for the tragedy. The Australian Foreign Minister has said that the names of the suspects will likely be confirmed by early next year.